experiencing Australia's very own Galapagos. Out to sea here, whale sharks and manta rays, and inland crabs, millions of them. When the surging seas of the Indian Ocean hit the limestone cliffs of Christmas Island, there's an explosive reaction. Local lass Linda Cash knows their power.
We're on the southern side of the island, and the limestone formations from the force of the swell coming up from the Southern Ocean, it's actually just pushed up through the limestone, created holes in the formations and of course creating blowholes. It's an incredible place, and of course when the blowholes are blowing there's this really eerie feel about it. The noise, the spray, it's just an incredible place. And of course the formations themselves, the formations of the limestone just have this really eerie feel about them.
Inland, there are extensive rainforests to explore, populated by a wide range of exotic creatures. And cooled by a series of waterfalls. Wow, Linda, that looks pretty damn refreshing after you've done that long hard walk, eh?
I know, it's quite stunning, isn't it?
Now this runs all the year round, eh?
Yes, it does. It's actually from the spring up at the top of the dales, and it's some of the coolest water on the island. It's very refreshing.
Linda, tell me about the rainforest out here, because as I see it, we have got completely beautiful, untouched, unspoiled rainforest. Beautiful trees and ferns.
So we're very lucky on Christmas Island. 63% of the island is national park, and there's actually 7 dales like this, and they all run down to the ocean.
So Linda, you all come here. You actually love getting out and exploring yourself.
Oh, absolutely. The dales are one of my favourite areas on the island, because it's almost when you're walking through the dales area and you've got the strangler figs and the Tahitian chestnuts, it's almost like walking through Middle Earth. It's very Tolkien-esque.
And crabs. Everywhere we look, there are crabs. There are the red crabs, there are the big robber crabs or coconut crabs. And there's what, something like 20 different species of crabs here?
There are, and you'll see quite a few of them here at the Dales. You'll also see the blue crabs. You'll see the blue crabs anywhere where there's actually fresh water, and they're quite prevalent in the Dales area. You'll see the nippers, you'll see, well, in fact we saw a yellow ghost eye crab on the way up here. So it's an area where you can really see some of the island's diversity in its crab population.
How appropriate. Christmas red for the biggest population of crabs on Christmas Island. They're actually land crabs, and they emerge from their burrows to drink and scavenge the leaf filter. These bright red crabs of Christmas Island are about to take part in one of the world's greatest animal migrations. Come the first heavy monsoonal rains of November, and millions, tens of millions will emerge from their burrows here in the forests and start to walk en masse towards the sea where they'll spawn. So precious are the crabs and wildlife of Christmas Island, the Australian government has appointed a conservator to protect them.
Yes.
Philip Stewart has been appointed as that wildlife protector. Philip, they're everywhere. You've got to be so careful where you walk, eh?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's just millions of crabs.
Now, what do you reckon in terms of population numbers?
We're most probably looking around 35 to 45 million crabs.
And that's down, that's well down on what they used to be.
Yes, from our figures we looked at, with approximately 120 million crabs originally, and now we're looking at 45 to 35 million. They are the only detrivores that we have on the island. Without them, we may as well pack up and go home. They're very, very important at the turning, as you can see, turning the soil, eating the leaf litter, and keeping the forest floor tidy.
So as scavengers, that's their feed, they'll eat leaves, they'll eat each other?
Oh yes, no, if you see a road casualty, you'll often see another crab, you know, feeding off its relative, no problem.
Come those heavy rains of November, they'll trigger, the rains will trigger their march. That's a real phenomenon.
It is, it's an incredible sight to see. The roads just become red with these marching crabs as they all head off to the sea. And normally around about November, it triggers the males to move down to the coast first to develop burrows, which then the females follow a short while after, where they mate, and then the females move off a month later down to the coast, where they actually spawn, and then take the trek all the way back up through into the forest, and it can be kilometres that they end up walking.
Another 3 weeks later, we suddenly see these babies, millions of those coming back on shore.
Normally up to 2 times in every 7 years that you'll actually get the young crabs coming back onto the island. It's completely opportunistic whether or not they actually do get back onto Christmas Island. If you think The island's a tiny speck in the Indian Ocean. It's an incredible current, and sheer luck brings them back onto the island 23 days later, where they jump out of the sea and then they themselves march all the way back up into the forests. They are obviously under threat because of an introduced species of the yellow crazy ant. That is a definite threat. Other threats are obviously the amount of visitors, road mortalities, and deaths that we have during the migration period. But the management that we have at the moment, being proactive as it is, I tend to look at it as being rather positive. They are the most important animals that we have on the island. I do believe that we will be able to ensure a sustainable number of crabs on this island, and that is why we're here, to protect them.
You're looking at the world's largest land invertebrate. It's the coconut crab, known here on Christmas Island as the robber crab, because it steals such things as sunglasses and mobile telephones. Now, these pincers are so tough they can snap open a coconut. They've been known to bite off a man's nose. And here on Christmas Island, these robber crabs or coconut crabs are in far greater numbers than anywhere else in the world. These crabs are found on tropical islands across the Pacific and Indian Oceans. But here on Christmas Island, their abundance means they're never hard to find. Philip takes me to a central reserve on Christmas Island where the crabs have been climbing the coconut trees.
Common name.
Okay, so tell us about these robber crabs.
They're the largest land crab, and they grow up to about 70 years in age. The one that we have climbing the tree is more than likely just over a teenager, 25, 30 years old. They are actually the island's only omnivores, in that they will actually eat leaf litter as well as actually actively hunt other crabs. We have an idea that they live up to 70 plus years. So the large ones that we have walking around here, you're looking at crabs that are 60, 70 years old. They really are the sort of majestic, magnificent, large robber crabs. They really are incredible.
And numbers, we're seeing a lot just here.
We haven't got any definitive numbers of the crabs. We do know that Christmas Island has the largest population of robbers anywhere in the world.
And Philip, they're quite sensitive, aren't they?
They really are incredibly sensitive. They have a fine network of hairs on their limbs here, and they can actually feel you. They can actually taste you, in fact. And they use these legs of theirs, these limbs, to actually forage in the forest floors, and that's how they identify their food. You can see, it pushes against me straight away.
Now, of course, these are protected.
The original miners on the island used to actively hunt these and cook them and eat them, and we still do have a few locals who actively hunt and eat these crabs. To me, personally, eating a crab that is 30, 40 or 60 years old, knowing it's older than I am, it's just something I couldn't do, to be quite honest.
And these nippers, quite powerful. Whoops.
Very powerful. You don't want to get your finger in there. I can promise you're not going to get it out. So they'll definitely break your fingers or break a wrist. You are in serious problems if one of these latch onto you, that's for sure. See, I would not like to be lying on the ground paralytically drunk when one of these are hanging around me, to be quite honest. I'm sure it'll do a lot of damage. I've actually seen them break open Coke cans and tin cans without any problem at all.
Next time Traveloz visits Christmas Island, prepare yourself for a very special encounter. Not one, but two giant whale sharks, the biggest fish in the world, come right up to us and swim in our bubbles for the next hour. Playful, docile, enormous. That's the whale sharks of Christmas Island in a coming episode of Traveloz.